After all the success that they have achieved in their life still comes to an end in the most tragic way possible, leaving everyone in shock and disbelief, who offered a lot to this world and still has a lot to offer, who died very young. Helicopter crashes, car crashes, gang violence, and gunshots echo in the dead night of the street. These are the 25 most tragic deaths of Black celebrities in the Black community's history, leaving deep scars on their loved ones, from friends and family to their millions and millions of fans. Get ready, because their death might be the most heartbreaking tragedy you've ever known. 1. Tupac Shakur, from 1971 to 1996. Tupac is considered one of the greatest and most impactful hip-hop artists of all time. Born on June 16, 1971, in East Harlem, New York City. His early life was shaped by struggles and knowing the harsh realities of life, and that's something he put into his music. His lyrics were super raw and real. He talked about everything from poverty to police brutality. He was a big deal not just because of his music, but also because he was outspoken about social issues. Some of his most famous songs like Changes, Dear Mama, and Hail Mary are still iconic to this day. But his life was intense. He got into a lot of trouble, had legal issues, and was constantly caught in that whole East Coast versus West Coast rap beef. It was a crazy time in the 90s with all that drama. Sadly, Tupac's life ended way too soon. On September 7th in Las Vegas, 1996, Tupac was in town for the Mike Tyson fight, and after the match, he was in the passenger seat of a car driven by Suge Knight. But as they were driving down the Vegas Strip, a white Cadillac pulled up next to them and opened fire. Tupac was shot multiple times, 4 times in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the thigh. He was rushed to the hospital, but after 6 days in critical condition, Tupac passed away on September 13, 1996, at just 25 years old. His death left the world stunned. To this day, we're still left with more questions than answers, as Tupac's murder remains unsolved. Was it a result of the East Coast-West Coast rivalry? Or was there more going on behind the scenes? There are so many theories about what happened, but no one really knows for sure. Some people think it was because of that rap feud, others think there's more to it. But regardless of how he died, Tupac's music and legacy are still massive. He left a huge mark, and people still talk about him like he's still here. 2. The Notorious B.I.G. from 1972 to 1997. The Notorious B.I.G., aka Biggie, was one of the most influential rappers in hip-hop history. Born Christopher Wallace on May 21, 1972, in Brooklyn, New York, the Notorious B.I.G. came from humble beginnings. Growing up in a rough neighborhood, Biggie was surrounded by struggles, but his talent for rapping quickly set him apart. With his smooth, effortless flow and unique storytelling, Biggie rose to fame in the early 90s. His debut album, Ready to Die, released in 1994, changed the game and made him a star. Hits like Juicy, Big Papa, and One More Chance became anthems of the East Coast rap scene. And Biggie was at the forefront of the East Coast versus West Coast rap rivalry, where his feud with Tupac Shakur would later become infamous. As Biggie's career skyrocketed, so did tensions in the rap world. The East Coast versus West Coast feud became a defining aspect of 90s hip-hop, and Biggie, representing New York's East Coast, found himself in direct conflict with artists like Tupac Shakur, who was firmly rooted in the West Coast scene. While the two started out as friends, their relationship turned sour and the rivalry became heated, with both sides taking shots at each other in songs and interviews. On March 9, 1997, Biggie was in Los Angeles attending the Soul Train Music Awards after-party. As he was leaving, a car pulled up alongside him, and a gunman opened fire. The blood of the rap legends splattered on the car window, painting a horrifying scene no one dared believe. The music still played in the car, but now it sounded like a funeral march, sending him off to the eternal world. He was rushed to the hospital, but tragically, he was pronounced dead shortly after. He was just 24 years old. His murder, like Tupac's, remains unsolved. Theories about what happened range from East Coast, West Coast tensions to conspiracy theories involving the music industry, but the truth still eludes us. 3. Whitney Houston, from 1963 to 2012. Whitney Houston was one of the greatest singers of all time, known for her powerful voice and incredible vocal range. Born on August 9, 1963, in Newark, New Jersey. She grew up surrounded by music. Her mother, Cissy Houston, was a gospel singer, and her cousin was the legendary Dionne Warwick. It was clear from a young age that Whitney had an incredible gift. She was discovered by music executive Clive Davis, and in 1985, she released her self-titled debut album, Whitney Houston. The album became an instant success, featuring hits like Saving All My Love for You and How Will I Know? And from there, she became a global superstar. Whitney dominated the music industry. She became the first female artist to have 7 consecutive #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. Songs like I Wanna Dance with Somebody, Greatest Love of All, and of course, I Will Always Love You solidified her as a legend. She even transitioned into acting, starring in The Bodyguard alongside Kevin Costner. The film's soundtrack, featuring I Will Always Love You, became one of the best-selling albums of all time. Despite her success, Whitney faced personal struggles. Her highly publicized relationship with Bobby Brown was full of ups and downs, and over the years she battled drug addiction, which took a toll on her health and career. Her once powerful voice started to decline, and she faced multiple setbacks, from canceled performances to rehab visits. But despite everything, she remained an icon in the eyes of her fans. On February 11, 2012, just one day before the Grammy Awards, Whitney Houston was found unresponsive in her hotel room at the Beverly Hilton in Los Angeles. She was found drowned in the bathtub water spilling out like a cold old river. Surrounding her were pill bottles, the pungent smell of chemicals, and a radio playing her final song. Heart disease combined with cocaine, used to relieve stress, ended the life of a legend, leaving the music world in deep sorrow. Whitney Houston's death was a heartbreaking loss, but her legacy continues to live on through her music. She will always be remembered as one of the greatest voices in history. 4. Bobbi Kristina Brown, from 1993 to 2015. Bobbi Kristina Brown, the only daughter of music legend Whitney Houston. Her life was filled with fame, loss, and tragedy, and her death remains one of Hollywood's most shocking stories. Bobbi Kristina Brown was born on March 4, 1993, into music royalty. As the daughter of Whitney Houston and R&B singer Bobby Brown, she was constantly in the spotlight. She grew up in luxury, often appearing alongside her mother on red carpets and award shows. But despite the fame and fortune, Bobbi Kristina's childhood was far from perfect. Her parents' marriage was filled with controversy, public fights, and struggles with addiction. She witnessed it all firsthand. In 2012, when Bobbi Kristina was just 18, her world fell apart. Her mother, Whitney Houston, was found dead in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. The official cause of death was drowning, with drug use and heart disease as contributing factors. Losing a parent is devastating, but for Bobbi Kristina, it was even harder. She idolized her mother and struggled deeply with the loss. In the months after Whitney's death, she became more reclusive and emotionally fragile. During this time, she grew closer to Nick Gordon, a man Whitney had taken in and raised like a son. Their relationship quickly became controversial, with reports of emotional abuse and drug use. On January 31, 2015, something shocking happened. Bobbi Kristina was found face down and unresponsive in a bathtub at her home in Roswell, Georgia, eerily similar to how her mother had died 3 years earlier. She wasn't breathing. Paramedics rushed her to the hospital, where doctors placed her in a medically induced coma. She remained in a coma for nearly 6 months. Bobbi Kristina never regained consciousness. On July 26, 2015, she was pronounced dead at just 22 years old. An autopsy later revealed that her cause of death was pneumonia caused by drug intoxication and drowning. This raised a lot of questions. How did she end up in that bathtub? Was it an accident, or was there something more sinister at play? Nick Gordon was at the center of the controversy. Many accused him of being abusive and enabling Bobbi Kristina's drug use. In a wrongful death lawsuit, he was found legally responsible for her death and was ordered to pay $36 million to her estate. However, no criminal charges were ever filed. Nick Gordon himself later struggled with addiction, and in 2020, he died from a heroin overdose at 30 years old. Bobby Christina Brown's story is heartbreaking. A young woman who lost her mother too soon and never got the chance to live the life she deserved. But despite everything, she will always be remembered as Whitney Houston's beloved daughter, a young woman with dreams, talent, and a life tragically cut short. 5. Aaliyah, from 1979 to 2001. Aaliyah, an R&B icon whose music and style shaped a generation. Aaliyah Donna Houghton was born on January 16, 1979, in Brooklyn, New York, and raised in Detroit. From a young age, she showed immense talent, performing on Star Search and even singing with Gladys Knight at just 11 years old. At 15, she released her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, produced by R. Kelly. It was a hit, and Aaliyah quickly became a rising star in R&B and hip-hop. But it was her second album, One in a Million, produced by Timbaland and Missy Elliott, that made her a household name. By the early 2000s, Aaliyah was not just an R&B singer, she was a full-fledged superstar. She was starring in Hollywood films like Romeo Must Die and had just released her third album, Aaliyah, which was already topping the charts. She was only 22, but had already built a legendary career. The world was watching, and Aaliyah was just getting started. But then, tragedy struck. On August 25, 2001, Aaliyah and her team had just finished shooting the music video for Rock the Boat in the Bahamas. They were eager to return to the US, but their flight would never make it back. Aaliyah and 8 others boarded a small Cessna 402B aircraft in Marsh Harbor. But just seconds after takeoff, the plane crashed near the runway, killing everyone on board instantly. An investigation later revealed that the plane was overloaded and carrying too much weight, exceeding its limit by over 700 pounds. Even worse, the pilot, Luis Morales, was found to have traces of cocaine and alcohol in his system and was not even authorized to fly that plane. Aaliyah's death sent shockwaves through the music industry. Fans, friends, and fellow artists were devastated. Her funeral in New York City was attended by music legends like Missy Elliott, Timbaland, and Jay-Z, as the world mourned the loss of a young star taken too soon. But even though she's gone, Aaliyah's influence is still felt today. Her music continues to inspire new generations, and artists like Beyoncé, Rihanna, and Drake have all credited her as a major influence. Aaliyah was truly one in a million, and her legacy will never fade. 6. Michael Jackson, from 1958 to 2009. King of Pop, Michael Jackson. From his legendary career to his shocking and mysterious death, his story remains one of the most fascinating in music history. Michael Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana. He started his musical career as the lead singer of the Jackson 5, a group formed with his brothers. Even at a young age, Michael's talent was undeniable. But his true rise to superstardom came in the 1980s when he launched his solo career. With albums like Thriller, Bad, and Dangerous, he became the biggest pop star on the planet. Michael wasn't just a singer, he was a global phenomenon. Thriller remains the best-selling album of all time. Songs like Billie Jean, Beat It, and Smooth Criminal changed the music industry forever. He was also a groundbreaking performer, inventing legendary dance moves like the moonwalk and setting new standards for music videos. But behind the fame, there were personal struggles. As his fame grew, so did the controversies. From allegations of child abuse to his dramatic physical changes, Michael's personal life became a media obsession. Michael claimed his changing skin color was due to vitiligo, but many speculated otherwise. He also underwent multiple plastic surgeries, which drastically altered his appearance. His health was also deteriorating, and he became dependent on prescription drugs. In 2009, Michael was preparing for his massive comeback tour, This Is It. Fans were excited, but behind the scenes, he was struggling. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson was found unresponsive at his home in Los Angeles. He was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. He was pronounced dead at just 50 years old. The official cause of death was acute propofol intoxication. His personal doctor, Conrad Murray, had given him a lethal dose of the powerful anesthetic. He was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter. Michael Jackson's death sent shockwaves across the world. Millions mourned the loss of the king of pop, and his memorial service was one of the most watched events in history. Even after his death, his legacy lives on. His music, dance moves, and influence continue to inspire new generations. 7. Prince. From 1958 to 2016, Prince was a musical genius, an icon, and a legend. Prince changed the music industry forever with his groundbreaking sound, electrifying performances, and undeniable talent. But despite the fame and fortune, his life ended in tragedy. What really happened to Prince? Born Prince Rogers Nelson on June 7, 1958, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, he was destined for greatness. Raised in a musical household, Prince was a child prodigy, playing multiple instruments by the age of 7. His unique blend of rock, funk, and R&B set him apart from the very beginning. In 1978, he released his debut album, For You, followed by a string of groundbreaking records like 1999, Purple Rain, and Sign of the Times. His style, bold personality, and genre-blending music made him an icon. Prince wasn't just a musician, he was a revolution. He pushed boundaries with his music, fashion, and even his name. Who could forget when he changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol, standing up against the music industry's control over artists? He was a pioneer in every sense of the word. But in the years leading up to his death, something seemed off. Though still performing, Prince had begun to show signs of exhaustion and illness. Reports suggested he was dealing with severe pain from years of physically demanding performances. Just days before his passing, Prince's private plane made an emergency landing after he became unresponsive. He was treated for an opioid overdose, but insisted he was fine. Sadly, that would be one of his last public moments. On April 21, 2016, the world was shocked. Prince was found unresponsive in an elevator at his Paisley Park estate. The cause? A fatal overdose of fentanyl, a powerful opioid. Investigators later revealed that he had unknowingly taken counterfeit pills laced with the drug. He had no prescription and no idea what he was really taking. His death raised serious concerns about opioid abuse and the dangers of counterfeit medications. But one thing was clear: his loss left a void in the music industry that could never be filled. Prince may be gone, but his music, spirit, and influence live on. From artists like Beyoncé and The Weeknd to the millions of fans who still celebrate his work, his legacy remains untouchable. He taught the world to be bold, to break the rules, and to always stay true to yourself. And that is the legacy of Prince. 8. Sam Cooke. From 1931 to 1964, Sam Cooke, the King of Soul. A voice so smooth, a talent so undeniable, and a legacy that still echoes through time. But his life was tragically cut short under mysterious circumstances. Was it a crime of passion, self-defense, or something more sinister? Born in 1931 in Clarksdale, Mississippi, Sam Cooke became one of the most influential soul singers of all time. From gospel beginnings with the Soul Stirrers to chart-topping hits like You Send Me and Wonderful World, Cooke transformed the music industry with his smooth voice and pioneering spirit. On the night of December 11, 1964, Sam Cooke checked into the Hacienda Motel in Los Angeles, California. What happened next remains controversial and shrouded in mystery. According to reports, Cooke was shot and killed by the motel manager, Bertha Franklin. But why? The official account states that Sam Cooke had been out with a woman named Elisa Boyer. She later claimed he tried to assault her, prompting her to escape and take his clothes, leaving him enraged and confused. Allegedly, Cooke stormed into the motel's office, demanding to know where she was. A struggle ensued between Cooke and Bertha Franklin, leading her to shoot him in self-defense. But not everyone believes this story. Many question the official story. Some believe Cooke was set up. Others suggest it was a deeper conspiracy involving the music industry, as Cooke was not only a successful musician, but also a businessman fighting for artists' rights. Even his wounds raised suspicion. He was shot once, but his body showed signs of a brutal struggle. Despite his untimely death, Sam Cooke's legacy lives on. His music remains timeless, his activism paved the way for Black artists, and his influence can be heard in the voices of legends who followed. Was his death just an unfortunate incident, or was there more to the story? One thing is certain, the King of Soul will never be forgotten. 9. Lisa Left Eye Lopes, from 1971 to 2002. Lisa Left Eye Lopes, one-third of the legendary R&B group TLC, was a powerhouse of talent, creativity, and passion. But her life was tragically cut short in a shocking accident. Lisa Nicole Lopes was born on May 27, 1971, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. From a young age, she had a love for music and performance. In 1991, she auditioned for a girl group that would later become TLC, alongside TNT Boz Watkins and Rosanda Chili Thomas. With their debut album, Ooh! On the TLC tip in 1992, TLC became a sensation. But it was their 1994 album, Crazy Sexy Cool, that solidified their legacy. Lisa, with her unique rap verses and signature eye patch, brought an edgy and creative energy to the group. Despite their success, Lisa had her struggles. She had a highly publicized relationship with NFL player Andre Risson, which turned volatile. In 1994, after an argument, Lisa set fire to his sneakers in a bathtub, which led to their mansion burning down. She was sentenced to probation and therapy. As she matured, Lisa sought spiritual enlightenment. She traveled to Honduras frequently, seeking peace and healing under the guidance of Dr. Sebi. She was even working on a documentary about her personal transformation. April 2002, Lisa went on a retreat to Honduras with friends and family. On April 25th, she was driving an SUV when she suddenly swerved to avoid a truck. The vehicle lost control and rolled multiple times. Lisa, who wasn't wearing a seatbelt, was ejected from the car and suffered fatal injuries, which led to her death. She was only 30 years old. Lisa Left Eye Lopes left behind a legacy of music, creativity, and authenticity. TLC continued in her honor, but her absence was deeply felt. Her impact on R&B and hip-hop remains strong to this day. 10. Marvin Gaye, from 1939 to 1984. Marvin Gaye, a name that defines soul music, a voice that touched millions, a man whose life was filled with triumph, love, and pain. But behind the soulful melodies and timeless classics was a tragic story that ended in one of the most shocking deaths in music history. Born on April 2, 1939, in Washington, D.C., Marvin Gaye grew up in a strict household under the rule of his father, Reverend Marvin Gaye Sr. Music was his escape, and his undeniable talent led him to Motown Records, where he quickly rose to fame with hits like How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You and I Heard It Through the Grapevine. As the Prince of Motown, Marvin Gaye wasn't just a singer, he was a revolutionary artist. His album What's Going On wasn't just music, it was a social statement that spoke to the struggles of the world. Despite his success, Marvin Gaye battled demons, depression, drug addiction, financial troubles, and a strained relationship with his father. His music reflected his pain, but behind closed doors, the weight of his struggles became unbearable. By the early 1980s, Marvin was in financial ruin. After years of legal battles and failed relationships, he moved back in with his parents in Los Angeles, seeking peace. But what followed was a tragic end no one could have expected. April 1st, 1984, just one day before his 45th birthday. An argument between Marvin and his father escalated into a violent confrontation. Marvin, already battling emotional distress, got into a heated fight with his father after intervening in a dispute between his parents. In a moment of rage, Marvin Gaye Sr. grabbed a .38 caliber pistol, a gun Marvin himself had gifted his father months before. A single shot was fired, hitting Marvin in the chest. Moments later, another shot rang out, sealing his fate. Marvin Gaye was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. The world had lost a legend. Marvin Gaye Sr. was arrested and later pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter. He received a 6-year suspended sentence, serving only 5 years of probation. Marvin Gaye's voice never died. His influence lives on in every soul singer, every R&B artist, and every heart that still feels his music. 11. Bernie Mac, from 1957 to 2008. He made us laugh until we cried. His bold humor, his unforgettable presence, and his signature catchphrases made Bernie Mac one of the greatest comedians of all time. But behind the laughter was a battle that he kept hidden from the world. Born Bernard Jeffrey McCullough on October 5, 1957 in Chicago, Illinois, Bernie Mac grew up in a tough neighborhood. He faced many struggles, including the loss of his mother when he was just 16 years old. But through hardship, he found his voice. His humor became his shield and his weapon. Bernie started performing in small clubs in the late 1970s. He wasn't just another comedian, he was raw, fearless, and unapologetically funny. His breakthrough came in 1992 when he won the Miller Lite Comedy Search, leading him to bigger stages, including HBO's Def Comedy Jam. With just one performance, Bernie Mac became a legend. His no-nonsense, in-your-face comedy style made him a fan favorite. From there, Hollywood came calling. Bernie Mac quickly became a Hollywood star, stealing scenes in movies like Friday, The Players Club, and Ocean's 11. But his biggest success came in 2001 with The Bernie Mac Show, a sitcom loosely based on his own life. The show was a huge hit, running for 5 seasons and winning multiple awards. It gave audiences a deeper look at Bernie, not just as a comedian, but as a father figure and role model. But behind the laughter, Bernie Mac was silently battling a serious illness. In the early 2000s, he was diagnosed with sarcoidosis, a rare inflammatory disease that affects the organs, particularly the lungs. Sarcoidosis causes the immune system to overreact, creating harmful inflammation in different parts of the body. For Bernie, it affected his lungs, making it difficult for him to breathe. Despite his condition, Bernie continued working, pushing through pain to keep making people laugh. But in July 2008, his health took a turn for the worse. On August 1, 2008, Bernie Mac was admitted to the hospital in Chicago due to complications from pneumonia. His condition worsened rapidly, and on August 9, 2008, he passed away at the age of 50. The world lost a comedic genius, but his legacy continues to inspire new generations. 12 Chadwick Boseman, from 1976 to 2020. Chadwick Boseman is one of the most iconic actors of our time who left an indelible mark on Hollywood and the world. Chadwick Aaron Boseman was born on November 29, 1976, in Anderson, South Carolina. From a young age, he showed an interest in storytelling and acting. He attended Howard University, one of the nation's most prestigious historically black colleges, and graduated with a bachelor's degree in directing. His passion for acting led him to New York City, where he honed his craft on the stage before moving on to film and television. Chadwick's breakthrough came when he was cast as Jackie Robinson in the 2013 film 42. His portrayal of the baseball legend was powerful and cemented his place in Hollywood. But it was his role as T'Challa, the Black Panther, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that truly made him a household name. Black Panther was not just a film, it became a cultural phenomenon, and Chadwick's performance was at the heart of it all. Chadwick's other notable roles included playing James Brown in Get On Up and Thurgood Marshall in Marshall. He was a true representation of excellence, playing historical icons with depth and passion. But despite his rising fame and success, there was something that Chadwick was battling quietly, far from the public eye. In 2016, Chadwick was diagnosed with colon cancer. However, he chose to keep this battle private, continuing to work on major films even as his health declined. He was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer, which eventually progressed to stage 4. Despite his personal struggles, Chadwick continued to give his all to his work, filming multiple movies and even doing charity work. He was known for his strength, resilience, and commitment to his fans. Chadwick Boseman tragically passed away on August 28, 2020, at the age of 43. His death came as a shock to the world as he had kept his health condition private. He died at his home in Los Angeles, surrounded by his family. 13 Don Cornelius, from 1936 to 2012. Don Cornelius is one of the legendary figures in music and television, a man who changed the way we experience entertainment and shaped the careers of countless artists. Don Cornelius was born on September 27, 1936, in Chicago, Illinois. He started as a police officer before stepping into the entertainment world. But what he's truly remembered for is creating the iconic TV show Soul Train. Soul Train made its debut in 1971, revolutionizing the way Black music and culture were represented on television. With its infectious music, funky dance moves, and in-depth interviews with legendary artists, Don Cornelius created a platform for Black musicians like James Brown, Michael Jackson, Aretha Franklin, and so many others to showcase their talent. Under Don's leadership, Soul Train became a cultural phenomenon, attracting millions of viewers, and it ran for an incredible 35 years, until 2006. It was so much more than just a music show. It became a symbol of Black pride and a cornerstone of American pop culture. And of course, it wasn't just the music, it was the unforgettable Soul Train line and the energy Don brought to the show as the host. However, Don Cornelius' life took a tragic turn in the final years. Despite his success and immense influence, he struggled with personal demons, including bouts of depression and difficulty maintaining relationships. His life came to a devastating end on February 1st, 2012. Don Cornelius was found dead at the age of 75 from a self-inflicted gunshot wound at his home in Sherman Oaks, California. Authorities confirmed that his death was a suicide. It was a shocking loss to the entertainment world and left many fans heartbroken. Following his death, tributes poured in from around the world. Artists, friends, and fans remembered Don as a trailblazer, someone who not only created one of the most important music shows in TV history, but also provided a platform for Black culture to shine. 14. Heavy D from 1967 to 2011. Heavy D is known for his heavy-set frame, smooth rapping style, and infectious charisma. Born Dwight Arrington Myers on May 24, 1967, in Mandeville, Jamaica, Heavy D moved to the Bronx, New York at the age of 11. He quickly became a dominant force in hip-hop. He was more than just a rapper, he was a pioneering figure in the genre, setting the stage for future artists to follow. He rose to prominence in the late 1980s as the leader of Heavy D and the Boys. Their debut album, Living Large, dropped in 1987 and featured hits like Mr. Big Stuff, which became an instant classic. But it wasn't just his music that set him apart. Heavy D was a bridge between the worlds of hip-hop and mainstream audiences. His music was fun, infectious, and accessible, making it a hit with both urban and pop music fans. Heavy D's impact on the hip-hop world was undeniable. He was also known for his ability to bring together different styles, mixing rap with reggae and soul elements. His 1991 hit, Now That We Found Love, became a chart-topping anthem and remains a party favorite to this day. Besides his solo career, he worked as a producer and was responsible for helping to launch the careers of artists like Soul for Real and the Notorious B.I.G. In fact, Heavy D's connection to Biggie Smalls was key in shaping the future of East Coast rap. But what made him truly beloved was his positive attitude, his authenticity, and the way he used his platform to break barriers in an often difficult and competitive industry. Despite his immense success, the world was shocked when Heavy D passed away on November 8, 2011, at the age of 44. His death was sudden, and fans, fellow artists, and friends were devastated by the loss. But how did this happen? Heavy D died after experiencing shortness of breath and collapsing outside his home in Beverly Hills. He was rushed to a nearby hospital, but tragically, he was pronounced dead shortly after. The initial cause of death was not immediately clear, but an autopsy revealed that it was due to a combination of health issues, including deep vein thrombosis and a pulmonary embolism. Deep vein thrombosis, often linked to obesity and a sedentary lifestyle, occurs when blood clots form in the deep veins, often in the legs. If one of these clots breaks loose, it can travel to the lungs, causing a pulmonary embolism, which can be fatal. Tragically, this is what led to Heavy D's death. Though Heavy D's life was cut short, his legacy continues to live on. His influence on hip-hop is still felt today, from his innovative music to the way he paved the way for artists of all shapes and sizes in the industry. His unique blend of positivity, creativity, and soul will forever remain a cornerstone of hip-hop history. 15. Nate Dogg. From 1969 to 2011, Nate Dogg, known for his smooth, melodic hooks and collaborations with some of the biggest names in the game, Nate Dogg's impact on the music world is undeniable. Nate Dogg was born Nathaniel Dwayne Hale on August 19, 1969, in Long Beach, California. He grew up surrounded by music, and as part of the legendary hip-hop group, the Dog Pound, Nate became known for his distinct style of singing hooks, bringing a soulful yet tough edge to the world of rap. Throughout the 90s and early 2000s, Nate Dogg was featured on some of the most unforgettable tracks. He brought his signature vocals to hits like Regulate with Warren G, Still Dre with Dr. Dre, and The Next Episode with Snoop Dogg. His deep, smooth voice made him a sought-after collaborator, helping define the G-Funk era. Known for his effortless ability to switch between rapping and singing, Nate became one of the most influential figures in West Coast hip-hop, cementing his place in music history as the king of the hook. However, Nate Dogg's life was not without its struggles. In 2007, he faced a major health scare when he suffered a stroke that left him partially paralyzed. Despite this, he continued working on music and inspiring fans worldwide, but sadly his health continued to decline. On March 15, 2011, at the age of 41, Nate Dogg passed away at the UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles. The cause of death was complications from multiple strokes, a condition that he had battled for years. His untimely passing left the music world in mourning. Following his death, the tributes came pouring in from every corner of the music industry. Fellow artists like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Eminem all paid tribute to the man who had become a foundational part of their careers. Snoop Dogg, in particular, said Nate Dogg was the voice that connected all of us. 16. Phife Dawg, from 1970 to 2016. Phife Dawg, known for his unique flow, powerful lyrics, and contributions to A Tribe Called Quest, Phife left a legacy that's still felt today. Phife Dawg, born Malik Isaac Taylor on November 20th, 1970, in Brooklyn, New York, was a force in the world of hip-hop. He was best known as one of the founding members of the legendary group A Tribe Called Quest, alongside Q-Tip, Ali Shaheed Muhammad, and Jarobi White. Phife's distinct, raspy voice and witty lyricism brought a unique flavor to the group, solidifying their spot as pioneers in the genre. Over the years, Phife helped A Tribe Called Quest shape the sound of 90s hip-hop. Albums like People's Instinctive Travels and The Paths of Rhythm, The Low End Theory, and Midnight Marauders are considered some of the greatest in hip-hop history. The group's blend of jazz samples, socially conscious lyrics, and dynamic flow changed the game and left a lasting impact on artists to this day. Now, Phife Dawg wasn't just a rapper, he was also an essential part of the chemistry within A Tribe Called Quest. His collaborations with Q-Tip were some of the best in hip-hop, bringing out the best in each other's styles. But Phife wasn't always in the spotlight as much as some of his peers. He was often seen as the more laid-back member of the group, but when it was time to step up, he never failed to deliver. Sadly, Phife's health struggles were an ongoing part of his life. In his early years, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which eventually took a significant toll on his body. His health issues became more public as time went on. In 1990, Phife was hospitalized for a kidney transplant, which he later received from his mother, but the effects of his illness didn't end there. In 2016, Phife Dawg's health took a devastating turn. On March 22, 2016, the hip-hop world was rocked by the tragic news that Phife had passed away at the age of 45. The cause of his death was complications related to his long battle with diabetes, which had affected his kidney function over the years. His passing was heartbreaking, not just for his family and close friends, but for the entire hip-hop community. Fans across the world mourn the loss of a true legend. But his legacy lives on through his music, his impact on hip-hop culture, and the memories of those who knew him best. 17. John Singleton, from 1968 to 2019. John Singleton is one of the most influential filmmakers in Hollywood history, from breaking barriers in the film industry to leaving a lasting impact on culture. John Singleton was born on January 6, 1968, in Los Angeles, California. Raised in a neighborhood that would later shape his filmmaking, John had an eye for storytelling from a young age. His big break came in 1991 with the release of Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood wasn't just a film, it was a statement, a raw, honest portrayal of life in South Central LA, tackling issues of race, violence, and the struggle for identity. Singleton became the youngest director ever nominated for an Academy Award at just 24 years old, making history as a pioneer for Black filmmakers. Over the years, Singleton continued to push boundaries. He directed and produced numerous successful films, including Poetic Justice, starring Janet Jackson and Tupac Shakur, and Higher Learning, which tackled college life and racial tension. He also worked on Hollywood blockbusters like Shaft in 2002, Fast 2, Furious in 2003. But even in these commercial films, Singleton infused his signature style of storytelling focused on cultural and social issues. However, in 2019, tragedy struck. On April 17th, John Singleton suffered a massive stroke. After being hospitalized, it was reported that he was in a coma. Just over 2 weeks later, on April 29th, John Singleton passed away at the age of 51. His family confirmed that John had suffered the stroke after a period of health struggles, but it was still a devastating blow to his fans, friends, and the film industry as a whole. The world lost a visionary too soon. 18, Chad Butler, from 1973 to 2007, Chad Butler. Pimp C, one of the most influential figures in Southern rap. His legacy continues to impact the world of hip-hop even today. But like many legends, his story is one filled with both triumph and tragedy. Pimp C was born Chad Butler on December 29, 1973 in Port Arthur, Texas. From a young age, he was immersed in music and soon joined forces with Bun B to form UGK. Together, they created a sound that would forever change Southern rap. UGK's breakout album, Reading Dirty, became an anthem for Southern hip-hop, with tracks that resonated far beyond Texas. Pimp C's raw, unapologetic lyrics made him a household name in the rap world. But as much as he rose, Pimp C also faced serious personal struggles. He had openly talked about his battles with addiction, including his use of lean, a mixture of codeine-based cough syrup and soda, which has been tied to several tragic incidents in the rap community. After a prison sentence for gun charges, Pimp C was released in 2005. But his demons followed him, and he was never truly able to shake his battles with substance abuse. On December 4, 2007, Pimp C was found dead in a Los Angeles hotel room. His death sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community, with fans and artists alike mourning the loss of a true legend. Initial reports pointed to possible foul play, but the official cause of death was later determined to be acute sleep apnea, compounded by the effects of prescription drugs. The combination of substances, including codeine, ultimately led to respiratory failure. Though he was taken too soon, Pimp C's impact on the rap game cannot be overstated. His raw, Southern style paved the way for future generations of artists. His influence can still be felt today in the music of many, especially in the Houston rap scene. 19, XXXTentacion, from 1998 to 2018. XXXTentacion is one of the most controversial yet influential artists of his generation. Born on January 23, 1998, in Plantation, Florida, Jose Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, known professionally as XXXTentacion, quickly rose to fame with his raw and emotive music. XXXTentacion was known for blending genres like hip-hop, rock, and R&B, creating an unpredictable and unique sound. His debut album, 17, dropped in 2017 and was a hit with fans with its deeply personal lyrics tackling themes of depression, anxiety, and heartbreak. Tracks like Jocelyn Flores and Sad turned him into a household name, with millions of streams and chart-topping success. But behind the fame, XXXTentacion's life was marked by controversy and legal battles. While his music resonated with so many, his personal life was far from easy. XXXTentacion faced multiple legal issues, including allegations of domestic violence, robbery, and witness tampering. He spent time in and out of jail and was awaiting trial for charges related to these incidents. He was also open about his struggles with mental health, which added a complex layer to his public persona. Despite his challenges, many saw XXXTentacion as a figure of redemption, as he used his platform to talk about mental health issues and encouraged his fans to overcome their own battles. On June 18, 2018, the world was shocked when XXXTentacion was tragically murdered at the age of 20. He was shot outside a motorcycle dealership in Deerfield Beach, Florida, just after withdrawing money from a bank. Surveillance footage later revealed that two armed men approached his vehicle and shot him. They then stole a Louis Vuitton bag containing $50,000 in cash and fled the scene. Fans and fellow celebrities were devastated by the loss, with tributes pouring in from around the world. His death left a massive void in the music industry, and his fan base mourned the untimely passing of an artist who had so much more to offer. 20. Pop Smoke, from 1999 to 2020. Pop Smoke is considered one of the rising stars who changed the rap scene. Born Bashar Baraka Jackson on July 20th, 1999, in Brooklyn, New York, Pop Smoke quickly became a force in the hip-hop scene. Growing up in Canarsie, a neighborhood known for its gritty streets, Pop Smoke was surrounded by influences of street life. Despite these challenges, his passion for music was clear early on. He rose to fame in 2019 with his breakout hit, Welcome to the Party. The song introduced his signature deep voice and hard-hitting beats, blending elements of drill music, a genre that originated in Chicago but took over New York, making Pop Smoke the face of the Brooklyn drill. His style was raw, unapologetic, and unlike anything mainstream hip-hop had seen in years. Pop Smoke's debut mixtape, Meet the Woo, dropped in 2019, followed by Meet the Woo 2 in early 2020. Both were met with critical acclaim and solidified his status as a star on the rise. But in February 2020, just as Pop Smoke was about to take his career to even greater heights, tragedy struck. On February 19th, Pop Smoke was staying in a rented home in Hollywood Hills, Los Angeles. That night, a group of armed men broke into the property. Pop Smoke was shot multiple times during a home invasion. He was rushed to the hospital, but despite efforts to save him, he was pronounced dead at just 20 years old. The news sent shockwaves through the music world, with fans, artists, and friends mourning the loss of a talent who had so much more to give. Authorities later confirmed that the incident was a targeted robbery. The killers were believed to have been tipped off about the location after Pop Smoke accidentally revealed his address in an Instagram post. The robbery escalated quickly, leading to Pop Smoke's tragic death. 21 Young Dolph, from 1985 to 2021. In the world of hip-hop, there are artists who rise to fame with hard work, talent, and an undeniable presence. One such artist was Young Dolph. Young Dolph was born Adolph Thornton Jr. on July 27, 1985 in Chicago, Illinois, but he grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. From a young age, Dolph was surrounded by the realities of street life, which would later influence his music. He wasn't always set on a career in music, though. He briefly considered basketball and other paths, but in the end, it was his love for rap that ultimately led him to pursue his dreams. After dropping out of high school at 16, Dolph started rapping and independently releasing mixtapes. His first big break came in 2008 when he dropped the Paper Route campaign, which gained local attention. However, it wasn't until 2016 that he gained national recognition with the release of his album, King of Memphis. With his catchy hooks, gritty lyrics, and self-made mentality, Dolph quickly became a staple in the Southern rap scene. Young Dolph's career took off with hit singles like Preach, Get Paid, and 99 Shots. His collaborations with artists like Gucci Mane, 2 Chainz, and Megan Thee Stallion only solidified his place in the rap game. He even founded his own label, Paper Route Empire, a move that showed his dedication to supporting and building talent from the ground up. Throughout his career, Dolph stayed true to his roots. He was known for his unapologetic lyrics about Memphis street life and his hustle mentality. However, on November 17, 2021, tragedy struck. Young Dolph was fatally shot while visiting a local cookie shop, Makita's Homemade Butter Cookies, in Memphis. He was inside the store when 2 gunmen approached and opened fire. The attack was a devastating blow to his family, friends, and fans, who had been inspired by his journey from the streets to stardom. The murder sent shockwaves through the music industry. It wasn't just the loss of an artist, it was the loss of a man who, despite his fame, was always deeply connected to his community. Young Dolph had survived previous attempts on his life, including a shooting in 2017. But this time, his luck ran out. Following his death, tributes poured in from across the hip-hop world, with artists, fans, and community members all mourning his passing. Artists like Lil Yachty, Megan Thee Stallion, and Yo Gotti paid their respects, and fans created memorials in his honor in Memphis and beyond. As of today, the investigation into Young Dolph's death is ongoing, with law enforcement working tirelessly to bring those responsible to justice. His family and his label, Paper Route Empire, have vowed to continue his legacy, ensuring that his influence on the rap game lives on. 22. Takeoff from 1994 to 2022. Takeoff, the talented rapper from the iconic group Migos, born Kirshnik Karibal on June 18, 1994. In Lawrenceville, Georgia, was one of the three members of the hip-hop trio Migos, alongside his uncle Quavo and cousin Offset. Together, they changed the rap scene with their unique flow and innovative trap beats. Migos' breakthrough came with their hit single Versace in 2013, and they soon became household names with tracks like Bad and Bougie. Takeoff, though often in the background compared to his more outspoken groupmates, was known for his impeccable rapping skills and intricate flows. Takeoff didn't just shine as part of Migos, he also pursued a solo career. His debut solo album, The Last Rocket, released in 2018, showcased his versatility and solidified his position as a star in his own right. Fans and critics alike appreciated his quieter yet powerful presence in the rap game. Sadly, on November 1, 2022, Takeoff's life was tragically cut short. He was shot and killed in Houston, Texas, outside a bowling alley after a private party. The details surrounding his death were both heartbreaking and shocking for fans, friends, and the entire hip-hop community. Reports indicate that Takeoff was not involved in any altercation. He was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. The shooting occurred during a dice game, and Takeoff, who was reportedly not involved in the dispute, was caught in the crossfire. Takeoff's death sent shockwaves through the music industry and beyond. Fans and fellow artists alike poured out tributes, remembering him for his unique style, his kindness, and his quiet but powerful presence. The Migos group, especially Quavo and Offset, were devastated by the loss. Artists like Drake, Cardi B, and Lil Yachty paid their respects, with many reflecting on Takeoff's role in shaping modern rap and his lasting legacy. His death also sparked conversations about violence in the hip-hop community and the tragic loss of young lives. 23. Tina Turner, from 1939 to 2023. Tina Turner was known as the Queen of Rock and Roll, a true legend whose music defined generations. Born Anna Mae Bullock on November 26, 1939, in Brownsville, Tennessee. From a humble beginning, she grew into one of the most powerful voices in the music industry. With a career that spanned over 6 decades, her raspy voice and electrifying stage presence captivated audiences around the world. Her rise to fame began in the 1960s as part of the musical duo Ike and Tina Turner. But it wasn't just her voice that stood out, it was her sheer energy and raw emotion. Songs like Proud Mary became instant classics and cemented her place in music history. After leaving her abusive marriage to Ike Turner in 1976, Tina embarked on a solo career that would prove to be even more successful. Hits like What's Love Got to Do With It and Private Dancer not only redefined her career, but made her a global sensation, earning her multiple Grammy Awards and countless accolades. Despite facing health challenges in her later years, Tina never stopped inspiring. She continued to perform occasionally, and her influence remained strong. But in May 2023, we received the heartbreaking news that Tina Turner had passed away at the age of 83. Tina's cause of death was reported as complications from a long battle with illness. In recent years, Tina had faced numerous health struggles, including a stroke in 2013, kidney disease, and high blood pressure. Her kidney issues led her to undergo a transplant in 2017, a surgery made possible by her longtime partner, Erwin Bach, who donated one of his kidneys. Erwin Bach was by her side throughout her health battles. Their bond was incredibly strong, and Tina often spoke of the love and support they shared. It was with him by her side that she fought through her later years with grace and courage. 24. Tyre Nichols, from 1993 to 2023. The The heartbreaking and tragic story of Tyre Nichols, a 29-year-old man from Memphis whose life was tragically cut short. Tyre Nichols was a 29-year-old man who loved photography and spending time with his family. He had a passion for skateboarding and was known for his kind and easygoing nature. Tyre worked at FedEx, and his family described him as someone with a bright future ahead of him. But on January 7, 2023, his life would take a devastating turn. On that night, Tyre Nichols was stopped by Memphis police officers, allegedly for reckless driving. What followed was a tragic encounter that would lead to his untimely death just 3 days later, on January 10, 2023. According to body cam footage released by the Memphis Police Department, the situation escalated quickly. Tyre was pulled out of his car, and after a brief altercation, he was reportedly struck by officers multiple times. The footage reveals Tyre being brutally beaten, tased, and pepper sprayed as he called out for his mother. Tyre Nichols' death was devastating not only for his family but for the entire nation. His mother, Rovon Wells, spoke out, calling for justice for her son. The release of the video footage brought widespread outrage, and the incident sparked protests and demonstrations across the United States. The tragic event has reignited the conversation about police brutality, racial injustice, and the need for accountability within law enforcement agencies. Despite the fact that all 5 officers involved were quickly fired and charged with second-degree murder, many believe this is just one of many cases that highlight systemic issues within the justice system. Tyre Nichols' story is not just about the injustice that took his life, but also about the impact it has had on his loved ones, his community, and the broader fight for equality. While no amount of justice can bring Tyre back, his family's courage, the calls for change, and the support from people across the world continue to fuel this important movement. 25. Kobe Bryant, from 1978 to 2020. We remember the life and legacy of one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Kobe Bryant, a name synonymous with excellence, dedication, and greatness. Kobe Bryant was born on August 23, 1978, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The son of former NBA player Joe Bryant, Kobe was destined for greatness from a young age. He entered the NBA directly from high school, an uncommon path at the time. Drafted 13th overall by the Charlotte Hornets in 1996, he was quickly traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, where he would go on to build an iconic 20-year career. Over the course of his career, Kobe achieved remarkable feats. He was a 5-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, and 18-time All-Star. His relentless work ethic and competitive spirit earned him the nickname, the Black Mamba. He scored 81 points in a single game, the second highest in NBA history, and became the youngest player to reach 30,000 career points. Off the court, Kobe was a father, husband, and philanthropist. He married Vanessa Lane in 2001, and together they had 4 daughters. Kobe was deeply involved in his family and loved being a father to his girls, often sharing moments with them on social media. But on January 26, 2020, the world was stunned by devastating news. Kobe Bryant, along with his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, and 7 others tragically lost their lives in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California. They were en route to a youth basketball tournament when the helicopter, in poor weather conditions, crashed into a hillside. The news sent shockwaves across the globe, leaving fans, friends, and family members in shock and mourning. The crash that took Kobe's life also claimed the lives of Gianna, the Bryant family's pilot, and 6 others. Authorities confirmed that there were no survivors, and the grief of losing such a legend was felt worldwide. Kobe's death left a void in the basketball world, but his legacy continues to inspire millions. His Mamba mentality lives on in athletes and fans alike, reminding us to strive for greatness in everything we do. Beyond basketball, Kobe became a successful businessman, filmmaker, and author. He won an Academy Award for his short film, Dear Basketball, proving his versatility and creativity. Tributes poured in from all corners of the world. Fans, celebrities, athletes, and even former competitors shared heartfelt messages honoring Kobe's memory. From murals painted in his likeness to emotional tributes on the basketball court, Kobe's impact on the world was undeniable. Kobe Bryant's legacy will forever be etched in history. He was more than just a basketball player. He was a symbol of perseverance, ambition, and love for the game. His influence will continue to inspire new generations of players and fans alike. His story reminds us that greatness is not just about talent, but about relentless dedication and hard work.